Hey there, Steve Kamash with a Chef Knives to Go quick look product review on a very, very special knife. Every once in a while, Mark will send something really cool, expensive, unique, unannounced in the shipment. So he did that here, and thank you so much, Mark, for that. This is just a pleasure to see this thing. I've almost wanted to kind of hold it with white gloves doing that, but this is just an outstanding blade and it's just gorgeous. I'll do my best to show it to you, but you can see the doggone thing is really mirror polished. So, hello. So this thing is going to be kind of hard to do with the lights here, but we'll do our best. So this is the Jikko Honyaki Shirogami, our white number 3 Gyuto 240 millimeter, what they call the Crescent Moon version. And so I won't go into a lot of detail, but let's just say Honyaki in the simple is just a single piece of steel that's differentially hardened like a samurai sword, and it's just a very difficult thing to make well, and a lot of failure rates. So these are very, very expensive. It takes an extremely high amount of skill to make these. So there's been a ton of work put into this, and it justifies the price, in my opinion. It's a very limited, unique piece. And so the heat treat is in the 62 to 64 range. It's going to vary based on where the knife, the steel is. But again, it's a mono steel knife, so this is just a superb piece of craftsmanship. The weight on this one is 254 grams, or 9.0 ounces. Edge length is about 245 or 9.6-ish inches on the edge. And the overall length with this particular handle is about 400 millimeters. I measured the spine in 3 areas, so this is a fairly stiff blade. I'm not even going to try to put a lot of fingers. I don't want to get my fingerprints all over this, so I'm not going to squeeze it and do that. But it's got a lot of stiffness to it. I measured about 3.3 at the back here above the heel, and then obviously there's a lot of polish here, by the way, on the spine. You can see that. And I measured about 2.75 halfway down. Then I did it maybe 1.5 inches from the end. I got about 1.8, and then it just keeps thinning out. So it does have a superb distal taper as we go, until it thins out towards the edge. Beautifully, beautifully done. This is not easy to do. Here is the choil shot. Again, I'm trying not to get my hands all over this, but come on, buddy. There we go. So there's the choil shot. Beautifully ground. Blade height is 51 millimeters on this, so fairly wide neck, but no problem with clearance. The handle is kind of big and hefty on it to kind of balance it out. So it's an octagonal. It's got ebony and buffalo horn ferrule. There's a little bit of a step here between the two materials. They've got, looks like a nice tight glue up there where it goes into the handle. But the handle's 82 millimeters in circumference, or a little over 3 inches where the two materials meet. So it's got some beefiness to it, and it's got some heft to it. And again, I'm trying not to get my fingers all over this, but that brings the balance point back a bit. The blade's not super light, but the balance point, the handle's longer and pretty dense material, so this is going to bring it back to about there. Out of the box edge, this has a superb edge. It's just kind of ground. It's got a small bevel on the end, but I'm going to say 8 out of 10. I mean, it's just really nice. The finish is going to be hard to show here, but what they've done is they've taken, and I don't even know if I can do this for the video. This is going to be so hard. As you can, there's my camera right there, showing you everything in my setup here. It's just hard to show, but if you look closely, you'll see, I don't even know how they do this, but I think this is part of the differential hardening. They've got like a mountain scene here, and then they've got the crescent moon above it. And then we have some hand-chiseled kanji that's thin and beautifully done. Obviously, this is very highly polished. So great job there. And then you've got the same thing on the left side of the blade. So you've got that mountain scene, and then you've got the crescent moon there rising above it. And it's a little hard to show without more blue lighting. These are tungsten lights I'm using, but it's got kind of an iridescent, I don't know if you can, there, that's probably as good as I can show you. It's got kind of a rainbow iridescent finish on it. It's really interesting. And hopefully you can kind of catch that. It's really hard to show. It's a bit easier in daylight, white balance. You know, if you next to a window or something, it's a little bit harder to see in tungsten. But see if I can kind of show that to you. The left side of the blade is a little bit easier to show that to you, but it's just remarkable finish on there. It's just super cool. And it's probably about as good as I can show you. It just has a multicolored kind of rainbow finish going this way with it. Obviously, there's a ton of polish back here on the choil into the neck, and obviously in the top. It's just a gorgeous knife. So I'm being very careful while I handle it. But here is what it looks like. I'll try. This is going to be very reflective, but here's what the profile looks like. It's actually a real smooth profile. So you've got a fair amount of belly towards the tip, so you could rock this. And then it comes down to a stop at the back. So the back half of the knife is pretty flat, and it just comes to a nice stop right there. It's got just a touch of back belly there to keep it from slamming. So it comes into just a nice stop. It's not super abrupt, but you definitely know it's stopping. But you'll get awesome chopping in the back half, middle part of the knife, and then a fair amount of belly towards the tip, so I can still get pretty high with this. So again, if you don't like to do some chopping and you like a little bit of flatness to the back half of the blade, this definitely has it. Clean this up a little bit here, trying to do a minimal amount of anything to this blade. But anyway, not a whole lot else to say. This is just a superb piece of craftsmanship. It's very unique, very difficult to make, and would be awesome to own if you're in the position to do that. So this is the Jikko Honyaki Shitogami, or white number 3, Gyuto 240mm Crescent Moon knife.